Okay, now I want to talk about the wet on wet application, which to me that's the way that I love to paint with watercolors the most, because it just creates this magic on the paper. It gives doing wet on wet gives the watercolor the opportunity to really do what I think watercolor was made for, and that's to mix and mingle with other colors and to create these textures and these blooms and these, opportunities to just, it's just magic. I mean, I can't even explain it. I love it. It's unpredictable. Okay, I love that aspect of it because I like, I like abstract painting. That's one of the ways that I really like to paint. And I like to paint, I like to paint florals, but I like to do paintings where I apply watercolor in a wet into wet application. And then I like from the flowers on the paper to find me, if that makes any sense. Maybe I'll demonstrate it in a video someday. Okay, so here we're just going to create, I went crazy, I went round instead of square. I like working round instead of square anyway. Round is my thing. This is all wet into wet here, okay? This is just a little, it's an ornament, I guess. It's either a hanging ornament or it's a hanging topiary. That's what we'll call it. It's a hanging topiary. But I like working in a circle. So here we go. All right. My water is dirty, so you may be able to see. Nope. It's showing up pretty clear on the paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply a good wash of water. Again, if I haven't said this in previous videos, you want your paper to glisten. You don't want it to puddle. You don't want it to form these puddles on the paper. You just want it to glisten like we have a lake across from us, and when the sun hits it, it looks like just diamonds on the water. That's sort of what you want this to look like. You don't want it to look like a rainy puddle, but just like glistening lake water. That sounds so silly, but just like, I feel like a poet, just like water that glistens on the lake. All right, okay, so and what that's doing is the water is soaking into the paper. Okay, here we go. All right, and with the wet on wet application, all right, let me go in and get some of this green. You can, all right, watch me put it around the edges. You can push it. See me pushing it in here? Okay, you can push it. All right, I'm going to go around the whole edge of this with this green color. Okay, you can push it. All right, this happens to be a color that doesn't seem to want to travel as well, and that's fine. That's the nature of your colors. Some of them will travel and just move and spread, and some of them won't. But that you can push the color in, like I did, push it. You can, let me see if I can get another color that may move a little. I don't want to make brown, so let's try some of this peachy. You know what? Let me get some of my yellow. I'll get some of my new gamboge over here. Let's see what it does. Okay, see, there's one that's sort of spreading out, okay? You can drop in color when you do this wet into wet technique. You can poke in your color. You can push in your color. Or you can draw the color out. Okay, so you can pull it. So let's see if I can pull out a little bit to show you. Okay, let me get a smaller brush. All right, that's pretty. That's New Gamboge. That's a pretty color right there. And if I wanted, I could go in, get them to move around a little, get it to mix in with that green a little more. Oh, I see all sorts of interesting things happening here. Look at that. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can, but it's just, I'm just going to see how I'm pulling. I'm pulling that yellow out into the green. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to do, now I just have to play. It just invites you to play. The wet into wet technique just really invites you to play. It's very playful. Oh, that is so pretty. That's pretty. And see how it's not getting, it's not, you know, moving or spreading out into these areas. That's pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I was going to pull it out, but I really don't want to mess with that. I pulled it this way. I went into the color and I pulled it out this way. But you could take a wet brush and you could pull it out too. Like here, let me turn it a bit, move my coffee that I so desperately need right now. Let's see if I can do like, let's pretend like this is just, I'm going to pull out a shadow over here. There, you see it going that way? You see me pulling it out? There. I'm going to create like do like this is just there. You see it really traveling out where I touched the surface. Oh, I love that. Okay, we'll just do like that's a little there. That's just a little shadow around there, like it's a ball. Of course, the shadow would be a little darker, but you get the idea. So like I said, you can push the paint around, you can drop it in, you can push it around, poke it in, or you can draw it out or pull it out. But I love this technique. And I don't want to touch that because I will probably see. I'm going to just draw this. Another thing I want to do is draw this out further so there's not such a definite line created. Not a hard line. I don't want a hard. See, there's a hard water line right there, and that's sort of, let me turn that around. That's really not what I wanted. Let me see if I can. There. Just want to kind of, you know, draw it out to the white of the paper, okay? Just like that. There we go. That is wet into wet. That is so fun. That is so pretty right there. I hadn't used these colors together. I think this is an indigo mixed with a little bit of that green. That's the thing about watercolors too, is you go to the colors that you use the most and you start blending them in different ways, and you create your own unique colors. You create colors that are very specific to you, colors that you enjoy using, and you create blends that are blends of the colors that you love to paint with. Whole nother lesson too, but there you go. That's the magic of wet into wet. So like with the flat washes, you know, that just was pretty straightforward. Just a flat wash. This, we just had a conversation with our watercolors. Watercolors just, Our watercolors just did what they are created to do. And I put the watercolor on the paper, and then the watercolor, it kind of said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to move this way, and I'm going to move this way. And then it sort of asked me, and so now what are you going to do? And then I say, well, I'm going to drop in some new gamboge, and I'm going to see what happens, and I'm going to pull it out, and then watercolor turns around and says, well, you know what? All right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to react this way to what you just did. It's just beautiful. This is just beautiful. I'm loving this. All right, I could play like this for, all day. So there you go. Wet and Duet. Bye.